Yes, we are. Okay. So tonight's homework for Wednesday is evens. Okay. Let's turn to page 7 of our packet. We just finished the silent board game. Page 7. We're gonna teach you some real 8th grade math today. Real 8th grade math. Yeah. Okay. So figure 0. It's going to be your best friend in a minute. How many little boxes in figure 0?
3.
3. And notice that they wrote 3 in the table here. How many in figure 1?
5.
They wrote 5 here. How many in figure 2?
7.
7. Okay. A very important question in 8th grade. What am I changing by from here to here? What do I keep adding? Okay, let's write that down. We're adding 2 each time. Over here, we're also adding 2. So in different places, we see that we're adding 2, adding 2. So if we continue the pattern, how many little squares should I expect in figure 3?
11. 9. 9
So it's 7. And then how plus 2 would give me?
9.
9. So I should have 9 squares in figure 3. So we keep adding by 2. Adding by 2. So what's 9 plus 2?
11.
Now we have 11. And now we're going to add another 2. So what's 11 plus 2? 13. And we're going to stop there. We're going to do 17 later because it's 17. So we can't just keep adding. We just can't keep adding. All right. Now, 8th grade here, guys. We're talking 8th grade. I want to know what is my rate of change. And it's in the name. The rate of change. What are you changing by?
Plus 2.
2, right? My rate of change, what am I changing by is 2. In 7th grade, we call it like the unit rate, right? What does each bag of chips cost? Here, we call it the rate of change, what we're changing by. Very similar to 7th grade. So, we're going to say that the rate of change, what we're changing by is 2. And you can see that, right? It makes sense. Like, the words rate of change makes sense. We're changing by 2, so we call it the rate of change. All right. We all understand where we get the number 2 from?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 8th grade math right there. Now, the starting point. The starting point, write this down, will be how many squares in figure 0? You're always going to look at figure 0. How many squares were there or are there in figure 0?
3.
So that is what we call figure 0. Starting point. That's what we call starting point. The starting point will be 3. Because how many squares did you see in figure 0? 3. These two numbers are extremely, extremely important for us today and in 8th grade. How did I get starting point? I look at figure 0. How did I get rate of change? It's what we're changing by. All right, this is the main idea of today's lesson. Your equation, your rule. What do I mean by that? You know how in our silent board games, at the end, we write this down? We write, like, what's your rule, right? So these are your equations, your rules. I have to write one of these for each problem now. And you're like, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to show you the secret, the recipe. You're always going to start with y equals. Didn't we start with y equals in 7th grade? Yeah.
Y equals 2.
Yeah. So we're going to write this down. We're going to call it the rate of change box. So here's the rate of change. So write it down with a box. Then after the rate of change, we're always going to have an x. And we're sometimes always going to have a plus sign. So it always starts off with y equals rate of change, then your x, plus your starting point in another box. I put them in boxes because this is what you change. Like, the numbers keep changing in the box. The y never changes. The equal sign, the x, never changes. The plus sign, 90% doesn't change. Sometimes it changes to subtraction. All right. So, Tadeo, you already told me, which is fantastic. What is our equation for this problem right here? No, you're right. Y equals, so what's our rate of change?
2x.
2. So we're going to write 2 followed by your x. Andy, write this down. Plus, what's the last number? Starting point, which is our starting point? 3. So, in 8th grade, you're going to have to come up with these equations, right? And these equations are pretty easy if you understand where these two numbers are coming from. One's your rate of change, and one's your starting point.
Which equals 0.
Which equals 0.
Yeah, because if it's 2 plus 3 equals 5. Okay, what are you doing? I don't even know.
I don't even know either. Okay, we're moving on. Okay, this part goes into this darkened square right here. 2x plus 3. It's highlighted here, bold. 2x plus 3. Now that I have my equation, my rule, I can substitute and figure out what 17 is. So here is 17. I'm going to plug it in to your x. So I'm going to go 2 times 17 plus 3. Kind of like what I do in my silent board games, like the last ones that you guys don't fill out. I plug it in. So what's 2 times 17? 34 plus 3? 37. So that means that in this square right here for 17, I'm going to plug in the number 37. I solved for 17. Could you have added 2, added 2, added 2, added 2 all the way to 17? Yeah. I mean, you could have. It would have taken you forever. This is a much faster way. Because on the test, I'm going to put a random number right there. It might be 17. It might be like 178. Are you going to add 2 all the way to 178? I hope not. So 37 goes in that box right there. 37 goes into that box. Okay? All right. Now the last thing we do is we graph it. So we're going to graph this. 0, 3 is our first one. 0, 3 will go on the y-axis right there. 0, 3 right there. 0, 3. Then what's our next ordered pair?
1, 5.
1, 5. So we're graphing. Go to 1, then go up to 5 because this says 1, 5. So Alex, we're going to graph now. 1, 5, put a dot. What's my next ordered pair from the table?
3, 9.
No. Well, for me, it's 2, 7.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
2, go up to 7. 3, go up to 9. 4, go up to 11.
It's a straight line.
5, 13. And you definitely want to end up with a straight line. If you do not end up with a straight line, it's over.
You did something wrong.
Now, in 7th grade, it started at 0, 0, right? We wanted it to start at 0, 0. In 8th grade in high school, sometimes they start at 0, 0, but most of the time they don't. But it will be a straight line. Then, I don't know if 8th grade they start curving. Do they start doing curves in 8th grade? I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a long time. In high school, let's go in high school. Your graphs, I don't want to scare you, but let's scare you. Your graphs in high school will look like this.
I'm a U?
A U.
Why?
Why not? And then they'll look like V's, not U's but V's, and then you'll get higher math. Yes.
Looks like calculus.
Before calculus, you'll hit this, and then you'll hit like waves. And once you hit waves, that's pretty. And then you'll hit ellipse, which
Is it hard?
Oh wow, yeah. I don't think I could teach high school math.
I remember when I did that at MIT.
But yeah, in MIT,
Oh.
you might do the U in 8th grade. You might do the U in 8th grade. You might do the U in 8th grade. If not, you'll do it in high school. So in middle school, there's straight lines. We like straight lines. And then, Tiffany, you're doing such a horrible job, but distracting Eileen at the same time. That's how I knew you were off task, because of Eileen. All right, we move on. Let's look at the next problem. Let's count some squares. Gio, let's count some squares. How many in figure 1?
5.
5. And look, they already wrote 5 down there for us. All right, everybody count figure 2. Everybody count figure 2 on your paper, Chris. It's so much easier on your paper. Did you figure it out? How many? 9? So I'm going to write it in my box. Okay, right now, can you tell me what the rate of change is?
Plus 4.
I agree. Good, Tadeo. Can you believe kids are copying our answers?
Why is it copy?
Why are you guys copying? All you have to do is add 4. You shouldn't be copying.
Wait, if it's add 4, that means the first one is 1.
1. Yeah, because you have
Beautiful. That was my next question. What would figure 0 be?
0.
Well, think about it.
1 equals 1.
Because if I make this, pretend, this 0, I have to add 4, right? Is 0 plus 4 going to give me 5? No. So I have to come up, what number there will 100% make it a 5? So I know it has to be a 1. Because what's 1 plus 4? 5. Yes, good job. So I know this has to be plus 4 to get equal to 5. So I have to start with 1 square. All right, what is my rate of change? What am I changing by? 4. Right here. You see, we're changing by 4. What is my starting point? 1, Gio. So we write this down. 1. We focus. We try not to sleep. Okay. Figure 0 is 1. 1, 1, 1. Okay. Who wants to raise your hand and tell me the equation? Alex?
I forgot.
Okay. Chris? Oh, wait, no, just the equation. Just the equation. Before that. One step before. Mel?
Wait, the equation?
Yep. Dylan?
4x plus 1.
Y equals 4x
Oh, that
plus
one.
1. Where do I get the 4? From this rate of change. Where do I get the 1?
starting.
From the starting point. So that's what I write in the box. 4x plus 1. Now, Chris, we're going to solve for 17. Because first we got to figure out what this is. Then we're going to plug in the 17. So I'm going to plug in the 17. 4 times 17 plus 1. What's 4 times 17?
68 plus 1 is 69.
Very good.
Plus 1 is 16.
So we're going to write that down in that little box right there. All right, let's graph it. 0, 1. So that's your on your Y. Then 1, 5. 2, 9.
That's it.
That's it. Not a lot of them fit, right? Because our graph doesn't go up that much. Any questions? So, gotta know the starting point. Gotta know the rate of change. Starting point, rate of change. Any questions? I hope so. You are doing 8th grade math.